who's gonna take you out of the fight instantly. You know what I mean? So
well, that's just kind of
as far as the enemy.
I think that it's a very ineffective way of me teaching you one thing, because that's teaching you. If we do a turbo game and the most that you take out of it is.
All right, Beth, what was that? Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, Beth. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. If we play a turbo game that's 25 minutes, and the most that you get out of it is, me just spelling out what the enemy team's gonna do, it's not very effective because you're never gonna run into that lineup again, and it's much more effective if I teach you how to look for it yourself. Because there's literally millions of different combinations, and then you have to do that. You have to figure out what every single one of those combinations is against every 110 characters in the game. And that's kind of like what we're going at if we do live games. Or I could teach you like the fundamentals of what to look for, which is still kind of hard, but it's like it'll teach you how to do it yourself instead of needing me to like show you where it's wrong every single time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I still want to leave room for maybe when I know what I'm talking about better. Maybe I'll make a better argument, but like it also kind of simulates how I learned Dota in the first place, which was my 3K MMR friend, or my brother really. Kind of, I was CMing for him while he was in safe lane carry.
Lol.
And just kind of like he would tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Kind of like show. You know what I mean?
I mean, you don't have to convince me. If it's what you want to do, then we're gonna do it because this is your time. So it's.
I think every once in a while it's fun too, because
yeah.
It depends on how your pricing goes. Because if your pricing stays around 12, I probably won't. But since I bought your hours, I think was like $7.30 an hour with the discount I got.
Yeah, it was pretty cheap.
Then it's cheap enough where half an hour, you know what I mean? Like fun coaching is kind of worth it every once in a while. Does that make sense? But
I get that.
$12 an hour, probably be less likely to do it.
Yeah, I get that. I've had some students that have just mainly wanted to have fun with a session, and that's something that's really good to know because, like, if I'm trying to give you the best value of coaching, but it's boring as fuck, and you're paying to have fun, then neither of us are getting what we like. I want to give you the best value for what you're paying for, and you want to have fun, but I'm thinking that you want coaching when you want to have a good time. So it's like, or I could just know that you want to fuck around, and then we can fuck around for an hour, and it'll be dope.
Like if you gave me a like I don't know, it's up to you, right? It's your preference, but if you gave me a discount code for cheaper hours, and it was more fun for you as a coach to go and play dualies with me, like where you and I go and we lane together.
Well, the thing is, I never.
I would be down for that, but
I don't want to do.
You're not responsible. You're not as responsible during those coaching sessions, though, because you're playing for your own fun as well, sort of.
Well, the thing with I basically refuse to play lower games because I'm like fluid with my skill level, where I play to the level of the game. So if you throw me in a game with professional players where they're not like an organized team that's just going to completely shit on me, I'll play much above my level, and then I'll like hold on to that for a little bit. And then the same is true if I go play with 1Ks, I'm going to stomp them and do stupid shit, and then my next 10 games that actually matter, I'm also going to be doing stupid shit.
I forgot that you said that.
Yeah, so I super avoid playing lower games, like, yeah. But
so I have so basically I want to start out here with a couple questions about Riki.
Sure.
What are the viable positions for Riki and how he plays support, carry, role, number?
I think the only good position for him is 4. I don't think he used to be a much better like core when where is he? His invis, instead of having the agility damage multiplier, it used to be regen. So he used to be a viable laner, but now he's super squishy. and he's vulnerable for 6 seconds after every last hit at level 1. He has no health regen. His escape is like meh, and it depends on having creeps. So I would say the only position that I would ever want to play Riki in is forward. It might be different in lower games because I know this guy stomps a lot harder because nobody buys detection or anything like that. So, but yeah, I would say the only position you want to play him in is at 4, unless you're trying to like cheese or some shit, which is like, it's fine to do, but if you're trying to like get better at the game, I would avoid doing things that are like, oh, but it works at my MMR. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I played Riki. I've been doing a random turbo, so it's forcing me to play heroes that I've not considered. You know, one of these days I'm gonna random Invoker and I'm gonna be fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You.
So I was wondering, do you have any games of Riki that we could look over?
I do not.
Show me how they use Riki.
I have the only games that I have right now are Clockwork and.
I mean, not of you playing.
Earth Spirit.
Anybody in the game playing Riki. Do you have any games where there was a Riki, and you can show me how to use him? Basically.
I can check. But I can talk about him while we do this, so we don't waste time.
Sure.
You want to start with Orb of Venom, and I really like Earn on him because a lot of people go Aquila, which does give more damage, and it solves your mana regen problems. But Earn does the same for your mana regen, but it also makes it so you can go Phase Boots instead of Tranquils, because you have all of the health from kills. And Riki, I really like Earn on position position 4s because usually they can't push on their own. So what Earn allows you to do is instead of I'm sure you've noticed you take team fights, everyone's low, and you just back.
Yeah, and then you don't accomplish anything.
Yeah, but if you have an Earn, you can just heal up your teammates and then push. So if you're a hero that has no push ability, but you can earn up your teammates that do push, then all of a sudden you created a situation where your actions created the ability to push. So I don't have any Riki replays.
All right, so let's check out Dota Buff and see if we can find some of the top Riki players and see if they've played any games within the last couple hours.
Sure.
I mean, within the last couple days. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's one. That's a good way to do that, right? I do that sometimes.
I don't ever do that, but I'm not saying that's bad. It's just something I don't do. So you'd probably be a lot quicker with it than I would if you want to try and do that.
Okay, hero. Top players, and then I like to go by win rate, and then see people that played a lot of games.
Yeah,
this guy's got 50 matches played, 90% win rate, but these guy's got 1,000 games. 69% win rate.
I think the better thing to look at is what their MMR is, if you can see it there.
Well, they've got Diamond 10, Diamond 5, Diamond 3, Diamond 1.
Diamond?
It's Division. They don't have MMR.
Oh. Huh.
There's no way to sort that in the Dota buff thing.
Let me look.
But like this guy's got a 1,500 games and he's Diamond 9. I would assume, and he's got a game from 9 days ago. A lost game, which could still be. Oh no, it would. No, that's a fucking stomp. Okay, there's a guy with 1,200 games. High skill, very high skill. But he's playing him as core with no earn. So maybe not the best guy. If he's playing Riki as kind of core.
Let me check this one.
Oh, you maybe get a live game?
This isn't live, but it's close enough. Or it's he's got a close enough build.
Sweet. All right.
So yeah, we can try this one.
So what happened was I ran him Riki, and by the way, the build that you just said, I instinctively went on him. I ran fucking Orb of Venom, and then I went into that, and then later I noticed I was getting so much gold, and I became so powerful that I was like, well, I want my circle to have some on-attack effects, right? So I got the Stance and Yasha, right? So that slows them in the middle of my circle, right?
Diffusal Blade's much better on this guy.
I got that second.
You want to get it first.
I went over.
Like, this is...
Well, I didn't know. It was my first time playing
him,
I got so you. But so basically, okay, so Diffusals was much better, so...
Yeah. It allows you to slow consistently.
And keep them inside of this, and keep them inside of the silence.
Yeah. And it's got like a 15-second cooldown, so you can use it pretty well. And you do a ton of damage, because... Like, the damage...
So what lane to play him? Safe lane support? Off lane support?
You just roam him.
Oh.
So we're gonna watch this guy, and he's probably never gonna go to a lane for more than, like, a few minutes. And they give him the wards because...
Oh, so you're talking about position 4 roamer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's usually what position 4s are in the higher games. Because then you run into a situation where you have two babysitters, and one babysitter's enough to zone off the offlaner, so you have two people stuck up here, and then their offlane's like super strong, so even if you go there, you can't do anything, so it's kind of like you have two people stuck babysitting top, and you don't really want to go mid because you'll steal their experience. Which isn't like every game, it's just often enough that it makes roaming a good bit better than babysitting.
You still like that word there? That doesn't block the camp, does it?
1 sec, I'm getting rid of my tea bag. I think that one does. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that does. Yeah. Or at least that's what he intended it to do. And that's going to be a lot harder for them to deward, and it'll keep eyes on if Pudge rotates mid.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's good Pudge work. Yeah, one of these days, by the way, you're going to teach me Pudge and how to combat Pudge, like how best to fuck him up.
The best way to fuck him up is early game. Stay on this side. Don't go on this side, because he's going to hook you from here.
Yeah, I got that. That's one thing I learned when I mid against Pudge a lot.
Yeah.
So for a while, in my MMR, people were still midding Pudge. And so I basically just stay right behind the wave and just completely decimate him.
Yeah. So, yeah, like here, he's just going wherever he can be helpful. Like, he probably realized that this is gonna... you can't really go mid if the equilibrium's, like, in the middle. It's much easier to do it if it's, like, here. Because then you have all of this space to fuck with this guy. But if he goes and he attacks her right now, where she is, she'll, like, walk back here and then get, like, 2 or 3 attacks on when you got, like, 1 or 2 in. So it's not very effective, and you're not going to be zoning her from experience range, and you're going to be sapping from the Omni Knight. So you're not going to, like, accomplish much. And then bottom, he probably wants to let the Prophet get a few levels, and he's probably like, alright, with the Jakiro and the Pudge down here, he's not going to accomplish anything, because if he ever attacks any of them, he'll probably be in a range for the others to punish him. So, like, if he attacks the Spectre right now, like, the Jakiro's gonna, like, fire breath him or some shit, and he's just gonna, like, literally for just some shitty auto attacks. That's all he can provide right now. Some shitty auto attacks.
What are the key takeaways on Jakiro's abilities? I'm not familiar with Jakiro.
He is very strong at 1v1ing early game because he has a lot of health for his support, and then his two abilities that he gets early reduce your attack speed. So this is a dot, an AoE conal dot that has an attack speed and movement speed slow. So he usually starts with this, and it's really hard to trade with this guy because he has a lot of health, and your attack slowed, and move slowed, and taking a dot. And then his level 2, he usually gets this, which is just a orb attack that does dots and reduces your attack.
So basically, you need to stay out of his range when you get that fired, because you're going to be attacking slow, and if you turn around to try to walk away after you realize you're trading badly, he's going to be able to get even more hits because you're slowed.
That's like kind of a concept with it, but it's not like a perfect thing. Like with Ursa, it's basically a perfect thing to always back off when he has 2 or 3 swipes on you. Like you want to do that almost every situation, but with this, it's kind of like not every situation, if that makes sense. Like this isn't like game breaking, like getting 4 or 5 Fury swipes on you. It's just a spell. But yeah, the main takeaway is...
And what's that skill called again, the first one you were talking about?
Dual Breath.
Dual Breath, okay. And then...
He usually gets Liquid Fire. And he'll probably not have this skilled until later on in the game, because it's 90 mana for a 1 second slow that does 50 damage, which is like... It's mostly you get it for this stun, but the stun doesn't matter until you're in team fights and you have more people that can help you, and it'll hit more than one dude. So if you look at this as a stun, it's a 1 second stun that does 50 damage and costs 90 mana. And it's really hard to hit because it has a wind up time and then a formation delay. So it's kind of like her stun, where it has a cast delay, but this one's like super telegraphed because he winds it up and then it goes out and then it forms and then it stuns.
So you almost need a setup for it, or you need to be like from fog.
You need to, it either has to be like something like right here where it's a choke point, or like the hero's slow. Like you're not gonna catch a Storm Spirit with this thing without a disable. But you might catch like a Crystal Maiden. Something along those lines.
Okay. How much time does Riki spend warding? What's the position for? How much time should he spend warding?
You kind of just do it along the way.
But he should do all the wards?
In a higher level game, yeah. Or like in a competitive game where it's a team environment, probably, yeah. But in pub games, the Riki doesn't want to be buying them, and then it takes communication for the Ogre to let the Riki know that he should be warding it, so oftentimes it just doesn't happen. Like he probably gave the Riki the wards at the beginning, because then it's like super obvious and he has a minute and a half to realize that he has the wards and go place them and all that. But if I like fly out the courier and then forget about it, and the Riki's like trying to snipe the courier here, and then our courier goes through the middle and just dies, or if I was the
when he's invis, he can always set a ward invisibly, right?
Yeah.
Without me seeing it? Okay.
The only thing that breaks his invis is if he attacks. So you can use like Dagon, Force Staff, Blink Dagger, all that shit, while invisible. And Diffusal Blade, you can Tread Switch, you can turn on your Aquila, you can turn off your Aquila.
Okay, another question I have is, when placing wards, a lot of times what I've been doing to be more successful is trying to make sure I'm fogged while placing a ward. So if I just want to know how that that mechanic works. If I am behind a tree and I place a ward, and then immediately a millisecond after that ward is placed, maybe even the animation is still going, and someone walks behind that tree that's an enemy, do they see that ward, or is there a delay, or how does that work exactly?
Like, if
fogging a ward down.
If you place the ward, it's invisible immediately. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so like, there's no delay time or anything for it to be set.
Like, he placed this ward, and this would have seen it. And if there was a drop time, the enemy would have noticed, because it's going to pop up a red eyeball on the map when, in the first minute of the game, everyone's just looking at their mini-map, because they don't have to look at anything else. So they would have easily seen this. The reason that you want to be in fog, though, is because if you're looking at this hill, and then, like, if you run up here, look at this hill, and then run back, it's, like, pretty fucking obvious. Or, like, if you run up this hill, and then come here and look at this hill, as opposed to if you run up, stand here, and look at the hill, they're not going to know you even did this, but if you do it here, it's super fucking obvious.
I'm confused about everything you're talking about right now. What do you mean? Like, are you presupposing that there's a ward there?
No. If you're the ogre and you want to run around and place this ward, if you place it from right here, they won't have seen anything you did. But if you place it from right here and then immediately walk back.
Oh, sorry. Now I understand, because there's tower vision there. I see what you're saying.
So, okay. If the reason to use fog is so they don't have any clue. Whereas if you're in vision, then they can have a clue, but they're not certain unless they see your inventory and then see that one of them is missing. And there is something that you can do where if I click this ogre and he has an orb or a observer, and then he runs over and he places it here, it will immediately update the second that he drops the ward, even if I don't have vision of him.
I wondered about that.
Yeah. What that does is, all right.
You can't control your own hero while you're doing that.
Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks. So it's mostly like, if you're waiting for the rune, that's the most likely time to do that. Or if you're just sitting behind your carry, or if you're dead or something, you can do that. But it's not like you're going for last hits and you're keeping on this dude. But what that does is, so let's say he runs to this fog, and then 5 seconds later, I see his ward disappear. Then I know it's like in this area. I don't know exactly where in the area. Maybe if it was only a second, I would know he like placed it like here. But any time longer than that, if it's like 30 seconds that he's gone, he could place it here. He could be like waiting for the rune and place it here. He could go place it like there. So that's another thing to consider.
You don't know exactly where, but yeah.
But I'm sure you're probably not going to run into that mattering too much. Like, I don't even consider that in my games, really. But it's something that you can take advantage of, mostly.
But common times when I'm supporting, what I do is I go walk into the safe lane or off lane tree area, and then I place my wards from the little hidden spot, is what I've been doing.
Yeah, like from here or from here are really good spots. Or from here, you can place one there. Or here, you can place one there. Or here, you can place one there. Those are pretty good spots.
So just zoning people out. So I kind of understood this part when I in the game. I was kind of doing this a little bit. I was going for runes.
See, he made a mistake here. He should have went for the other rune first. Because there's nothing that the Kunkka can do to stop him from taking it for free. So if the Kunkka shows up here a half second late, the Riki's gonna get both of these runes. I don't know if he would have made it on time, but he still should have went for it anyways. And that's pretty big because now he's gonna run up here and waste his time. And this guy got like 60 gold and 30 experience or whatever. So that's 120 gold and like 60 gold swing, or 120 gold and 60 experience swing. Which means like right now, Kunkka could be 200 away from his boots and have like this much experience, and then the Riki could be level 2 and only 100 gold away from his boots. So the Riki's gonna get his boots after the Kunkka just because of this simple thing.
Okay. All right, let's So I kind of understand this. This is similar to almost all of the position 4 that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
So can we go to just after the laning stage?
Sure. I do think the first 10 minutes as a position 4 are the most important, though. So,
I know, but I don't want to talk about position 4 right now. What I want to talk about is learning about Riki.
Gotcha.
So we kind of covered position 4 a little bit. I obviously have tons to learn still, but I want to know what to do in fights and stuff. So one of the things I felt made me a good Riki is that I'm very attentive about wards and sentries. So I was very careful about making sure that when I went in there was no like sentries, so I didn't die a lot.
Yeah, you can it's a fine balance because sometimes you have to like take the risks, or else you're just not gonna do anything the whole game. But also you don't want to feed when there's like a good chance there's a sentry there. Like here, it's obviously
like walking into middle, right there. I didn't like that.
Like that play was fine, where he walked into the sentry, because not only did it give him the information that they have a sentry, but there's like no way that he's gonna get caught out and die here, unless like this Jakiro makes it super obvious. And what they should have done is just pretended like he wasn't there, and then try and catch him with a Lina stun, and then you can kill him. But what the fuck is this, like, breath gonna do to the Riki? Like, they can't kill him there. So that was a good play by the Riki, because it was a bad play by the Chihiro. And here he went on the Lina.
So at this point, after the laning stage, you keep the orb?
Until you don't have room for it, yeah.
But is it doing much?
It's not worth selling if you're not losing a slot. Like, you don't want to just sell it for the 100 or whatever gold. And it is pretty good because it stacks with the slow from Smokescreen. So instead of Smokescreen being at 25%, it's a 37% when it's maxed with Orb of Venom. And the more slows you have, the more impactful the slows are. So a 12% slow from 100% is only half as good as a 12% slow from 50%. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
So basically right now, Riki's Smokescreen is good. Oh shoot. I think you just barely moved and lost. Okay, wait, I can see it now. So let's go over. His Smokescreen is good against the Lina windups. Does Smokescreen stop Pudge's ult?
Yeah.
Okay, and so Smokescreen also stops the windup on Jakiro.
Well, you shouldn't be, if you're looking at trying to just stop the windup, I think you're trying to overemphasize that, because that's not something that I consider, and I don't think it's valuable to consider, because it's such a minute, like, you have to be on top of the Jakiro, while he's doing the cast animation, focusing solely on him for you to even start to utilize that. Because, like, if the Riki was trying to smokescreen this guy, he'd have to blink strike this range creep and then smoke this guy, because the range creep's a little bit closer and he'd get to it sooner, and he might be able to get the smoke on this guy. Or he could just throw it on the Lina who's stuck in here and have it a slow and a mischance.
So then is it more important that he use his screen in conjunction with his own allies, like, so maybe with the PA dagger, and then smokescreen on top of that, and they're super slowed and silenced?
In the team fights for this, the main things that you want to be using your smoke for is if this guy X's one of your teammates and is trying to set up a combo, if you throw a smoke on him after he torrents before he pulls him back, then he's going to miss his combo. And then Pudge, if you smokescreen his dismember, it's basically stopping somebody from being stunned for 2.5 extra seconds. So those are the main things to look for, spell-wise. And you don't really care too much about this guy.
How are you going to catch the Kunkka, though? It seems like it would be very hard to catch him.
It depends on the situation, really. Like, that's not something I can answer. It's just, like, it has to be the specific situation. But it's something to look for, because if it does pop up, you can definitely do it, and it makes a huge impact. Whereas, like, if you use it on the Jakiro, he's just going to, like, if you don't kill him, he's just going to walk out and cast his spells anyways. And you didn't really, all you did was delay him casting it by a few seconds, which might be super important. Like, if you're taking a huge fight here, and the Jakiro is going to, like, Ice Path here and stun 3 of your guys, then it could be super important. But if it's just, like, a Jakiro and it's not a super important situation, it's a lot less valuable.
Okay. What do you think then his most important skills?
This game, he has pretty good kill potential on the Lina because she's squishy. And then also stopping these two combos is really important. So those would be the things that I focus on. Because he doesn't really do too much to Spectre, and he doesn't really... Yeah. Mostly, like, the only... outside of this guy, stopping this guy's ult, and trying to stop this guy's combo, you don't really do too much to them. And this guy, like, outside of stopping his ice path when it's going to get, like, a 4-man stun, you don't really do too much to this guy. Especially, the Jakiro should be going for a Force Staff first to push out of your smoke cloud. So what that really leaves you as targets to, like, try and kill that are important is really the Lina. Like, you can try and kill one of these two guys if they don't have items to counter you, and they're alone, and you have a Diffusal Blade, or if your Prophet can show up.
So what would be your combo against a solo Lina, a lone Lina?
I just attack her once or twice, and then smoke screen her. Because she's not going to react immediately. So you can usually get a few attacks in before they react.
And then after she walks out of the smoke screen, backstab?
Well, you should be backstabbing the whole time if you can.
Well, I mean, use the ability to
bridge
the gap?
Yeah. Like, this doesn't do too much.
And then finalize with the ult?
It depends. Like, the ult doesn't do... The main benefit of your ult for a damage tool in a 1v1 is it basically it extends your attack range. So its AoE is, I think the AoE that it shows is the AoE if you have Ags. But I think the circle is something like this. So if you attack her here and then she runs out, you can ult and get a second attack when she's like this distance away from you. So that's the main benefit of damage of this in a 1v1. Mostly you use it as like there's 3 people or 2 people clumped together, or I don't want to get hit by spells, or they're possibly gonna dust and I can dodge it with this, and that's about it. Like, this doesn't do more damage than your auto attacks, because you attack, at least...
And your ult doesn't clear off the dust, right?
No. But a lot of times you'll ult, and people will dust after, so while you're untargetable. Like, I'd say half of the time that happens, people are like, oh shit, there's a Riki dust, and you're doing this right when they do it, and you don't get hit by it.
So what's again your combo exactly if you're trying to kill a solo Lina, and she does the best thing she can do?
Well, she's just gonna have a Force Staff and push out of it, as the best thing she can do. But what you can do with that is go on her, and then if she runs away, she'll usually force to get you off of her, and then you can blink strike onto her there, and then use your smoke cloud. So let's say you find her right here. She's like here attacking it. You attack her a few times, and then if she tries to like start casting shit on you, like if she does her wind up for her stun, then you can ult and dodge it, and then she'll probably try and run away, and if she uses her Force Staff to run away, you can blink strike her and then diffusal smoke cloud, and that's like kind of the ideal situation ish. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so hold the silence and diffusal
if she has a Force Staff.
Yeah. I'm just trying to learn like the best case combo to try and kind of like memorize, to at least learn a basic. I mean, I understand that the combos change based upon situation, but as far as like trying Riki out for the first time, you know.
Yeah.
Just trying to get the best combo that I can get.
And like,
so hit twice gives you 2 extra attacks, and then if they're still next to you, Diffusal and Silence if they don't have Force Staff.
Like right here, this guy should be, the second this guy gets out of Cloud, I would have liked to see the Riki attack move and be like right here, and then when the Pudge gets out of the Silence, use Tricks of Trade, and then when the Pudge gets out of the Tricks of Trade, you use your Blink Strike to probably last hit him. But he stays, and he gets ulted, and then he just dies. Just think of your ult as, it's literally a phase shift that you AoE attack, but it has a cast time to it, which is like 0.4 seconds, which makes it actually surprisingly hard to dodge a lot of stuff. Because with reaction times, it's basically 0.6 seconds before you decide that you need to do it, and it actually happens, because you have to react and press the button and all that.
Well, listen, I really wanted to do a longer lesson, but I have to go to the bathroom, like, really bad. And it might be like 10 minutes.
Alright, that's fine.
So if you want to stick around for another lesson, that's cool. But I gotta get going.
Hey,